Tony Gonsolin now available. First question's from Alana Rizzo. Go ahead.
Tony, 4 1/3 tonight. How would you kind of rate the way that your outing went this evening and the first time pitching in the postseason?
Not that great. I thought my body felt pretty good for not throwing in a actual game for a while. I didn't feel as sharp as I thought I could have felt. I felt like I didn't make the adjustment I needed to make coming around the fourth inning.
How could you possibly feel ready, though, when you haven't pitched in a big league game in 17 days since September 26th? How were you trying to maintain your arm speed, your strength, the delivery, the mechanics, everything, when you didn't have live game situations?
We were trying to just, try to throw some live ABs, multi-inning kind of thing, get the pitch count, keep it up. Granted, the scenario is very different from an actual game, but, that was the best thing that we could do.
You had 5 walks, but you also had 5 strikeouts. What's your biggest takeaway from this one?
Like I said, just kind of didn't make that adjustment that I needed to make to get in the zone a little bit more later in that outing.
Thank you.
Next question's from JP Hornstra. Go ahead.
Tony, prior to today, had you been preparing to start? Had you been preparing to relieve? And did you have any idea when in this series you were going to be on the mound next?
I was doing my homework. I usually do it, the day before I throw, but in this case, I didn't know when I was throwing exactly, so I just wanted to get it out of the way as early as possible. So I figured Buehler going yesterday. Yesterday was a good time to get all my homework done and all my scouting to be ready whenever I was on the mound.
And as far as that homework and scouting, how is it different? I assume it's kind of been this way all year, but just how different is it from the typical year where you might actually see the Braves in the game?
It's pretty similar to the rest of the season. I probably went into a little bit more detail than I normally would, but overall it was very similar.
Thank you.
Next question's from Bill Shakin. Go ahead.
Tony, because it had been so long since you pitched, as you worked your way through the fourth and through the parts of the fifth that you were pitching, how did you feel in terms of fatigue, sharpness, command? When did it set in that, it's a little bit of a struggle?
I would say I really got fatigued. I just think that my ability to make the adjustments quicker wasn't there. There's always room for improvement. And got my first postseason outing under my belt now, so be ready for next time.
What kind of adjustments do you need?
Just to get back in the zone, get that slider back in the zone. Same with the splitter as well. I just think that just trying a little bit too hard to make it overly nasty, trying to be too fine, and yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Corey Seager now available. First question's from Alana Rizzo. Go ahead.
Corey, before that crazy 9th inning, you had driven in the 4 runs that you guys had. What made things so difficult for you guys offensively?
They're a good team. They have a good staff. The starter was good. He kept us off balance all night. He was in the zone when he needed to. He got us to chase a couple times. It's just been a battle for us the last 2 days. They've thrown some pretty good games, and we got to make the adjustment.
Is there anything that you take away from the 9th inning that can catapult you into something positive in Game 3?
Yeah, absolutely. This team's got a lot of fight. We've done it all year. we were one swing, one anything away from tying that ball game and going into extras. So it's never over until it's over. You know, this is a long series. You know, we're looking up to the challenge.
Where does this team go from here now, Corey? 0-2 in the series, and try to fight your way back into this thing.
Yeah, same thing. You know, come back out, take good ABs. You know, I think all night we took better ABs. You know, we got through the middle parts of the innings last night, and kind of ABs got away from us. They had some quick innings, and all tonight, we had really good ABs, and just continue that tomorrow.
Thank you.
Next question's from Bill Shakin. Go ahead. Next question's from Jorge Castillo.
Or how important was it just to see more of that bullpen, there at the end and getting some intel after not facing those guys all year?
Yeah, exactly. The more we can see them, the better off we're going to be. So as long as we keep getting them, keep grinding out the starters, try and get into the bullpen as fast as possible, and start seeing some guys that we've seen the past couple nights, and it'll definitely be helpful.
Thank you.
Next question's from Jack Harris. Go ahead.
Yeah, Corey, we've heard about how you guys think that the depth is really going to be to your advantage as the series goes on. Is that sort of the approach you guys have now, is knowing you got through their best two starters and you guys might have a little more of a pitching edge as you keep playing all these back-to-back games?
Yeah, for sure, but you got to still come out and play. We got to come out and perform tomorrow. Nothing's going to be given to us, obviously, so coming out and taking good ABs, getting in the strike zone, pitching, attacking people, and good things will happen.
Thank you.
Next question's from John Morosi. Go ahead.
Thanks. Corey, are there ways in which you think that the pitch mix that you're seeing from the pitchers here in the series from Atlanta is different than what you saw from the Padres relative to the fastballs versus the off-speed there?
No, I mean, I don't think so. Sequences has kind of been pretty similar. It's just doing your best to stay in the strike zone, battling, grinding out stuff, and tonight was a lot better job of that, all up and down the lineup.
Next question's from Jim Alexander. Go ahead.
Corey, given the fact that this is a team that you hadn't seen all year, did the approach change at all early on as far as looking for specific things or how you approached it going up to the plate?
Not exactly. You got to play your own game. We're out here and we grind ABs out. We pass the baton. We do all those things, and you got to continue to do that even in series where you haven't seen guys. And like I said before, I think we did a really good job of that all night up and down the lineup.
Thanks.
We got time for one more. Go ahead, Kerry.
With the offense earlier.
I didn't hear the first part of that.
How important is it, going forward, how important is it to get started with the offense earlier in this series?
Yeah, we've obviously had slow starts to the last couple games. But, at the end of the game, we got back together, we scratched some hits together, and, you just kind of keep that rolling in tomorrow.
Thanks, Corey. D. Roberts now available. First question from Alana Rizzo. Go ahead.
Dave, Tony hadn't given up a home run in 46 2/3 innings. Are you just coming to the point where you just don't expect him ever to give up the long ball?
It was quite the surprise. Obviously, Freddie's one of the best players in the game, and he ran a 3-2 count, got him on the changeup his first at bat, and just yanked the changeup, right there in that situation. And Freddie put a good swing on it. But yeah, he just doesn't give up the long ball very often.
How difficult was it to figure out Ozzie Albies tonight?
Yeah, he had a good night. I think there was a leg double, a leg single. He got the ball that just over CT's head, and then hit the homer off Cleric. So I think last night the home run off McGee's just got some confidence going.
Down 0-2 in the series now. now, does it put any additional pressure on you and your staff to perhaps see if Clayton can go, or are you sticking to Urías in Game 3?
Yeah, Julio will go tomorrow, and regardless, we still got to win a baseball game, and you still got to win 4 of them. So we feel really good with Julio going.
Is that the message, Dave? Just, they still have to win 2 more, you still have to win 4. I mean, what do you tell your team going forward?
I think it's just one game at a time. I mean, I know it sounds cliche, but you just gotta. That's the only way to do it and to approach it. I thought that just late, us showing some life offensively was very good to see. Early on, we created some traffic and just couldn't get that 1-2 big hits, and they did. But to us, to see us fighting, that was a good thing.
Thank you.
Next question is from Jorge Castillo. Go ahead.
Dave, in that 5th inning, can you just kind of take us through going with Baez there? I know you had Kolarek up, and the 3-batter rule, did that affect your decision?
Yeah, well, with 1 out, you don't want Kolarek to get after Freeman. There's some, whether it's Acuna, whether it's Ozuna behind him. So you're put in a tough spot with that 3-batter rule. And then also, I felt Tony was throwing the baseball really well, and he punches Riley, and then it wasn't a good walk to Markakis. He put together a good at bat, but the walk there, and then there's a ground ball double off Pache's bat. So when it's 3-0 right there, to think about bringing one of your highest leverage relievers in the 5th inning in a -3-run game, it just doesn't make sense. So right there, I wanted him to try to, feeling he's still throwing the baseball well, to try to get the Acuna. There was another walk in there. So Pedro's been good for us. And C&I grounder off Freeman, and then from that point on, he just didn't execute.
Was Grado available tonight? I know you mentioned the palm thing yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. He was available, but again, it's one of those, when you're down 3-0 in the 5th inning, I'm not going to use a high leverage guy right there.
Lastly, is Clayton your guy for Game 4?
Right now, we'll see how he feels tomorrow. Right now, I know that Julio's going to start, and if Clayton continues to feel better, then we'll see.
Thank you.
Next question is from Dylan Hernandez. Go ahead.
Hey, Dave, given some of the uncertainties that kind of exist, with your rotation in terms of just, how many innings you can get out of guys and stuff, and also kind of taking into account the strength of the Braves lineup, just kind of how big of a challenge is it, figuring out, going into your bullpen and figuring out how to get those 27 outs?
Yeah, that's why, you're playing 7 days in a row. And so you have to try to give your starter some leash. And we knew that going in. And, Walker, we pitched him, it was 5 innings, 100 pitches. And today I really wanted Tony to get through that 5th inning. But we just ran into some trouble, and I just felt that he didn't have anything left in the tank, and we just couldn't finish that inning out. But with Julio, I expected to give him a runway and expect him to pitch well and give us a chance to win a baseball game.
And as you kind of go forward from here, how do you kind of balance that thing of, okay, well, it could be a 7-game series with kind of the immediate need to win now?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that, there's a thing of, obviously, in a deficit, who they've got available. But I think that tonight, we did a good job of getting other guys in there to get their feet wet as far as in this series, to not stress them, for them to be available in the coming days. But you just can't play every game, regardless of score, like it's life or death in a 7-game series.
Thank you.
Yep.
Next question is from Bill Shakin. Go ahead.
Dave, to follow up on what Jorge had asked, it looked on television like Trinan was throwing in the 5th inning. Was he up for Acuna, and if so, why didn't he come in?
Yeah, he was up for Acuna, but once Pache got the ground ball double, I just felt that 2-0 in that situation, if we could have got Pache out or kept the runner Markakis from scoring from first base, then it makes more sense to potentially get a double play ball to get out of that inning and keep it at a 2-run deficit. But in my opinion, once it got to 3, I didn't feel it was. I didn't want Blake in that game, in the 5th.
Thank you.
Next question is from Scott Braun. Go ahead.
Dave, where's Urías at from a stuff perspective, and what do you think tomorrow in terms of length and everything on where he's at based on what he's done lately?
Yeah, I think with Julio, obviously it's all predicated on performance and how he's feeling and throwing the baseball. But 5 and 75, 6 and 90, I think should be on the table.
Next question is from Sarah Spencer. Go ahead.
Hey Dave, did you feel like the guys were able to establish kind of an offensive rhythm there in the ninth, and is that encouraging moving forward in the series?
It really is, and I think for us to be able to get Melanson in the game tonight in a game like this, we were down 7-0. I thought was big. To see some other arms that we hadn't seen yet in the series, I thought was important. But that home run by Corey going the other way, I thought was an exhale for everybody. And then you looked at in the ninth inning, we took some good at bats and put some runs on the board. So I definitely think that that's some momentum we can take into tomorrow.
Thank you.
Next question is from Tim Brown. Go ahead.
Dave, when you said that you can't play every game regardless of score, like it's life and death, at 0-2 in Game 3, are you a lot closer to playing it like it's life and death?
Yeah, I think that that's a fair question. And obviously game, situation, game score matters, and who you're going to use if you're referencing relief pitchers. But yeah, the more you feel that you're in a deficit, as far as the series goes, you have to make that decision.
Thanks, man. Good luck.
Thank you.
Next question is from John Morosi. Go ahead.
Thanks, Dave. What did you see change in your team's approach as the game got late tonight and the at-bats improved? Corey Seager talked about how maybe you did a better job of staying in the strike zone. Was there something else that went into, you think, the better at-bats and better results for your club later on tonight?
I just thought that the guys that came in behind the starter were just making some more mistakes, and the mistakes that they were making, we were squaring up. And that goes with staying in the strike zone. But, yeah, we did a good job of taking advantage of mistakes.
Got time for one more. Go ahead, Jim.
Hey Dave, having been part of a team that was down 3-0 and came back to win, a ninth inning like this and getting some energy and enthusiasm and emotion back in, how big is that? And did the emotions lag during this game?
No, I don't think the emotions lagged. I thought that early on we had some opportunities to get a lead, and we just couldn't come up with the hits. But, we were scratching and clawing, and, they still got to beat us a couple more times. So our only focus is on tomorrow night now and how we can, find a way to win a baseball game.
Thanks, Steve.
Thanks, guys.
everybody.